is applying for a scholarship. I'm not talking about the probability of you not getting the scholarship. The problem with most scholarship applications is that people never apply for scholarships. That's the biggest problem because they don't want to go through the trouble. Last year, our promotions office had 9 scholarships available. Only 2 people applied. With 2.73 GPAs, they got in. They got the scholarships. That's because no one applies. So that's kind of the thing, right? So let's kind of narrow down the steps. By your 7th semester in UCP, you should have decided a field, and that field must be something you're good at. Number 1, decide a field. Number 2, research on that field and research different concepts of that field, right? Research, again, different concepts of that field. For example, let me give you my example so that I think you guys will have a better idea, right? I intend on focusing on finance, right? And energy and finance, that's my interest, right? So what I do is, I don't depend on UCP to teach me finance. What I do is, yes, my degree will state finance, but I also work on Investopedia. Investopedia is a stock simulation thing so that I get to know about different companies, different stocks. I invest into stocks and I work on stock simulation so that I can understand different marketing trends. The second reason behind me selecting finance is because finance actually gets you to if, say, I don't start on my entrepreneurial project, right? If I don't become an entrepreneur, and if I do end up in a finance position, you actually get to go to a CFO position. Finance has a huge growth. If you're really good at finance, you have a huge growth. You can become a CEO too, right? And finance is quite vast. It's not just about numbers. It's about patterns. It's about predictions. It's about a whole game, right? So my plan number 1 is I'm all done for finance. Inshallah, I am planning on applying abroad to US, some Ivy League institutions. So I'm also working on my GMAT preparation. I've created a GMAT study guide and a calendar for when I want to be done, right? I will apply to 3 or 4 foreign institutions. 2 will be my backup. 2 will be my higher university, like my top university preferences. So for that, what I will do is I'm supposed to do an internship before my 7th semester, which is highly recommended, number 1. Number 2, I will have my field narrowed down by my 7th semester, and I will start researching on my field, energy and finance. Then by the time I graduate, I'll have my resume, my LinkedIn profile ready, right? Before I graduate, I'll have these 2 things ready. In fact, I have them ready right now too, but I'll have them full-fledged ready by the time I graduate. LinkedIn and your resume should be ready. You should have a resume by now. Then I will, inshallah, work for 2 years. After getting my CFA level 1, CFA is Chartered Financial Analyst, level 1 exam. To become a financial analyst, you have to kind of give an exam, no academies, just one exam, right, after I graduate. With the help of that CFA certification, I will then have some work experience, 2 years work experience, inshallah. This is just a backup plan, right? Just so that you guys have an idea how to plan ahead, right? So 2 years work experience. Then I will apply to an MBA program. I could have done, the reason why I haven't I'm not applying to an MBA program is that although some universities prefer work experience, not all the best universities in the world expect work experience. They want work experience. So that's why I want to have work experience. But to have good work experience, if I depend on UCP, I'm done for. Trust me, this is something that's cold-hearted. Yes, I trust, but I'm being real with you. If you depend on just a UCP degree, you're done for. So what you want to have to do is you want to have your extracurricular strong, and you want to have some other thing going on too with your extracurricular. So basically now, let's have an example. I have tech, right? I have the CFA degree. So I also have the UCP degree, but it doesn't give me any leverage. So I'll try to get into a decent financial related job relating investments, because I love investments. I love investments. I love investing. I've invested in Apple before in 2010. It was a great experience. So always go for a field that you're basically in love with. If you're not in love with it yet, fall in love, like force yourself to fall in love. If you still don't fall in love, leave that field. Trust me, talk to your parents, etc., right? So, kind of, here's the thing, right? Essentially, what you guys want to do is, as far as, basically, like, as work experience is kind of detailed, what you guys should do is, we are going to have a session on this, a live session. So what I want you guys to do is simply this. I want you guys to write up your plans by the time you graduate, right? I want you to set dates for these plans. And these plans can be a good internship, right? I'm hearing complaints about poor connection. Let me work it out. I want a connection is fine statement by you guys in the chat box so that I know the connection is fine before I continue. Can you guys type it in? Connection is okay. I'm going to continue. So, we were talking about how many of you kind of. Let me ask you this. I don't know, because since you guys are keeping checking in and checking out, I want whether you guys were here since the start of the HR marketing and basically discussion that I just had. Were you guys there? Can you kindly say yes or no, so that I know where to continue from? While you guys do that, I'm going to have some water. Okay, so Omar Gilani wasn't here for the marketing discussion. All right, I'm just going to have a small review, right? So what I did was basically quite simple, right? Me, Harim, and the others. Harim was curious and about different fields and what to do, right? So we just had a discussion. We discussed how HR, we discussed marketing positions and what scope marketing has in the future. We discussed how marketing has really high growth potential. The only problem is that there are many marketing jobs available, but there are 4 and 5 and 6 times as many applicants. So for one marketing job at Mobilink, I recently discussed, there were 452 applicants. And in these 452 applicants, you have 70 to 80 applicants from IBA alums and Sucker IBA, Qaeda University, which have greater market value. Then you have your UMTs, your LSCs, and your LUMs, right? LSCs and your FAST. So it's highly competitive, and many people mistake marketing just with advertising. That's what we discussed. And marketing is not just about advertising, it's also about statistics. So we all discussed that. So HR, we discussed HR. The only thing, the problem with HR is that it's not technical. You become a business partner. You don't go beyond becoming a business partner. You become a junior business partner, senior business partner, HR specialist, max. You become an HR manager, that's it. There's no growth. Unless there's a vice president HR position. That is quite rare. These positions are only available in one of the best companies like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, etc. They have higher HR positions. But HR is quite fun it's quite fun. It requires good mathematical skills too, which people don't expect. A lot of statistical analysis goes into HR, and you have to be really good at psychoanalysis, right? As far as the field finance is concerned, which is my field, right? So why finance? We also discussed how finance is highly technical in nature. There's a lot of growth potential. People go to, with CFA positions, you go to a CFO, right? A chief financial officer and a CEO. A financial person who's good at finance might get up to that position. The second thing about finance is there's a lot of growth in finance. There's a new field emerging known as energy and finance. Energy risk professional, right? So that's my focus. There's only one person with that degree in Pakistan. I mean, with that certification in Pakistan. So I'm also focusing on energy and finance. But I only selected this field because I love finance. I love how it's kind of predictive in nature, how you have to study patterns, how you have to predict different market trends. And finance is more than mathematics. People complain about finance because of capital risk management and these concepts. That's a huge misconception that you guys have pertaining to finance, right? And finance is quite fun too. But I would recommend good mathematical skills at the end of the day too. So that's just a small review of what we kind of talked about. So now we were talking about basically how what you guys should do before you graduate, right? And this is only if you do not start up your entrepreneurial project, which I want every single member to start up their own project by the second semester. But that's something else. I'll get to that maybe in our next session, right? But for now, let's have a backup. Like, what will you do if you do not start up your project? Well, the first thing is have a LinkedIn account. I want everyone in tech to have a LinkedIn account. Your LinkedIn account should be amazing. As in, should be professional. It should not have your selfies as the picture. It should not have one of your shadi pictures as your pictures. You're supposed, men have a suit and tie or a professional picture up there on LinkedIn. Women have a professional picture too, not a selfie, etc. Second thing about LinkedIn is do not start putting in irrelevant information. Irrelevant information is, I did this in 5th grade. I won a debating competition in 5th grade. No one cares about 5th grade. Talk about your university achievements. That's it. Only mention your FSC or A levels if so required, right? But get into it. The second thing about thing is have a professional email. One of my friends, I have friends in HR around different companies, and I've had discussions with them. They laugh their faces off when basically the problem is most HR recruiters, they decide a job position in on average 8.5 seconds. Let me repeat that. 8.5 seconds. 8.5 seconds. When they look at a resume, they will reject you if they see this as your email. And I want you guys to know this because I've seen some weird emails, even in tech. So do not have some Princex XLOL345 for your email, number one. Number two, do not have crazy Mahad @gmail.com or Big Mahad. I don't know, people have weird emails, right? So let's not have cartoon characters as your emails too, like Goku101 @yahoo.co.uk. Do not, you're done for. I had that email. I deleted it. And a professional email you guys should have is, for example, let's take an example of Umar Gilani. Umar Gilani 101 @gmail.com. So dry, but so professional. That's called Have a professional email. Second thing, most people fail their resumes is because of their spelling and their grammar mistakes. And you might not think, you might have a 3.9 GPA, you might be amazing at everything. But if your grammar, if this by a grammar mistake or a spelling mistake, you're off. Trust me, good companies reject you on the spot. The third thing they look at is kind of basically how you kind of have relevant information. For example, they look at your extracurricular too, right? They don't really care about CGPAs. I know many, what happened was at DESCON, their HR, once DESCON hired 4 GPA gold medalists from Punjab University. They fired them in the next 2 weeks. Do you know why? They fired them because they had awful reporting skills, right? Why were they awful? Because they had no grammatical context. Their English was awful. They had awful communication skills. They had awful people skills. They were amazing. They might be introverts in their own thing, but if you do not have these things, you're done for. So these are just practical examples of what has actually happened. The third thing actually. We have discussed LinkedIn. So I want everyone to have a LinkedIn too. So now that we have discussed LinkedIn, let's kind of focus on the other thing, your resume. Your resume should be properly formatted. If you guys want an example of your resume, I'll send it to you guys, but you guys have to ask me for my resume. I will not have it like up there. So I'll just send it to you. I'll send it to Khizr, and what Khizr will do, he'll just forward it to you. I think Khizr just might have my resume. Yes, he does have my resume. So if you guys want to see a sample resume, just Khizr has a sample resume of me. So you're supposed to have a LinkedIn profile. You're supposed to have a resume done by now. If you don't, you're done for. The fourth thing is quite simple. If you're applying to a foreign university or if you're applying to LUMS, you're supposed to give the GMAT. Start your GMAT preparation now. Good universities take a GMAT score of above. GMAT is for, by the way, the United States, not for everyone. Different. If you're from engineering, if you're from CS, if you're from CS and you plan on doing your MBA, right, you still have to take the GMAT. And the GMAT is all about amazing grammatical analysis, amazing mathematical analysis, and amazing essay writing. You have to, it's a score of 800, and you have to, the top 5-10 universities take a score of above 740. Good universities takes around 650 and above, and 500 and above are for average universities. So aim for above 650. Always aim for above 650. So if you guys are planning on doing a master's or getting scholarships, actually, if you want a scholarship, and trust me, you guys can get a scholarship. It doesn't matter if you're a UCB graduate. My uncle, he graduated from this same university. That's something else that he also had a 4 GPA. 4 years. That's something else, right? But what he did was he graduated from this university. He had an amazing GMAT score, around 680, and which is high, which is really difficult to attain. He got a scholarship, full paid scholarship to 4 universities in the US. So basically, you guys can get a scholarship. Even if you have a 3 GPA or a 2.6, no problem. All you have to do is you have to demonstrate passion on your resume, your LinkedIn, etc. And your GMAT score should be quite high. So start practicing for GMAT if you guys haven't started it yet. The fifth thing, I keep on saying the third thing, I don't know why. The fifth thing is you guys should start writing this stuff down. Have a calendar, have a check and balance, and I think we'll have a more detailed session on GMAT, on resume building, on internships too, and how to become a better convincer, how to become a professional, right? Soon enough, we're going to have a session on this. But there's something I want to discuss before all of that. We are kind of missing a session on hyperproductivity enhancement. This hyperproductivity comes before everything. You guys will lose many of your friends in this whole process, right? You guys will not have time. So I want you guys to be mentally prepared for that. Second thing, you guys will have to compromise on a lot of fun-related things too. But since we're in the tech family, our passion and our love specifically for these things is what drives us forward. So inshallah, we are also going to have a session on Robin Sharma's hyper-productivity enhancement. And inshallah, I'll try to make sure that the connection is quite clear for our next session. And on that note, I am going to have a 4-minute question window. If you guys have any questions regarding today's session, before I kind of take my water break, I want you guys to send in a message on WhatsApp saying tomorrow 9 o'clock, before tomorrow 9 o'clock, I want an event proposal, a different idea for an event by you guys related to entrepreneurship or business up on basically my email. Send it to my email and I'll look onto it. But I want it before 9 p.m. And now we're going to have a 6-minute question window and 4 minutes, 4-minute question window. So I want you guys to ask any questions that you want. Go ahead. Yes, Hareem, I want you to be specific and write the idea down, right? Any questions about masters, resumes, LinkedIn, anything about anything that confuses you for the future? You guys can ask right now. Idea about what exactly? I never got it. Isham is having connection problems. I hope, Umar, you're recording this. Umar says idea about exactly what? If you guys weren't there before, the idea is basically about a competition between different universities relating to entrepreneurship, right? That's it. No, we're not talking about startups. I want a competition related to entrepreneurship. Have an idea tomorrow by 9 p.m. I also apologize if my voice is kind of dry. I was sick today. I was sick yesterday night too. So I have soup ready in my living room, but I think it's cold by now. So I want you guys to kind of ask questions about anything related to masters. Where should I go? Should I go to Australia? Should I go to UK? Should I go to Germany? Free education there. Should I go to Finland? Should I go to, don't go to Dubai. Should I go to the US, Canada? Where should I live in? What kind of visa problems will I face? My parents can't afford, for me to go out. So how do I convince them? Anything. Just ask. Do not ever be shy to ask any questions. Mason, for the GMAT prep, you go to gmat.com. You download a software. They have a diagnostic test. That diagnostic test, what it does is once you download the software, it gives you, it tells you where you're weak at, right? So you have 3 practice tests. I would recommend you to go to Variety Bookstore or to Main Market. They have GMAT books up there too. But I would recommend you to buy the most recent book. It's at Variety Bookstore, 3rd floor. third floor. Second or third floor actually. Go up there and I think it'll cost you around 1,200 rupees, and you'll have 3 CDs. So just start up your GMAT prep. Trust me, even if you have no extracurricular activity, even if you have an awful GPA, one GMAT score can get you to jail. The probability of that is still low, but still. Umar, is it worth starting? Umar asks me, is it worth starting a business first or getting MBA or starting both together? Well, Umar, it's kind of this. I believe that we're kind of stuck in a place where we have to decide between starting our own business or getting an MBA too, right? But essentially, the whole point of our own club is you have 2 options. If you start up a business today, right, you kind of might not want to work at a job. So you're kind of pushing the job out the window. But on the other side, starting a business at this stage will not get you any capital investment, and you will not be the sole proprietor. You want to end up in a sole proprietorship. That's my advice. Don't start a company. And you can start a company too, but it's a lot of hassle. Just get a sole proprietorship. You won't have to worry about all those legal documents. You will have to file for the NTN or the net tax income, right? But essentially, that I will recommend you, Umar. What you do is you wait to start your business. You work for a few years. You save some money. And then you start a business. Like you will have more experience by then. You'll know how to operate a company, right? But then again, you can also start a business right now. It'll get you some funds. You also want to have some residual income. The only downside of starting a business now is that if you start a business now, you might not be able to focus on your job, right? Or a career. But the only downside of working at a job is that the pay will be awful at first. For the first 2 years, it'll be around 30, 40,000, right? 20 or 15,000. And that doesn't get you McDonald's. Trust me, find a job where you can have McDonald's 4 to 5 times a week. And jog too, and have a good gym membership too. Your health matters. So these are irrelevant things, but trust me, these small things matter. You want to be happy when you're working. So you can have a small business going up, but it won't be your main business. You can expand it once you get a job, you save up enough capital. Umar Gilani asks, if MBA from IB alums, then how much marks will we need to secure out of seat because it takes plus business is money. Because if tech business plus business is dollar is money. For MBA from LUMS, you have to secure around 600 above GMAT. And you have to have really strong extracurricular base too. You have to be a great professional too. And I would recommend you have work experience before you apply to LUMS or IBA. Any other questions? I don't want you guys to focus on money right now. When you attach money with your subconscious, you don't fall in love, right? This is something I learned in my past that people around me always said, "Idhar jao, aage naukri mein bada paisa hai." But here's the difference. And Rockefeller, the founder of Standard Oil Company, he stated it himself that any man who works for the sake of money, never gets there where he wants to be, right? He never becomes successful, right? Steve Jobs never wanted money. Mark Zuckerberg never wanted money. So when you fall in love with an idea or a field, money comes its way only, right? Yes, Umar Galani, I'm aware there are only 4 years only, but 4 years, 3 years, 1 year, 28, 128 years, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you guys were here for the session. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys 1 more minute. If you guys have any question, you guys can ask. Then we'll end this session. Alrighty then. I guess you guys have just one question is kind of irrelevant though. Of course, Harim, you're gonna ask a question. Harim asks, I got late for presenting my final presentation. I got late for presenting my final presentation, and she's really mad and not really accepting me to present in the next class. Since I notice you have good debating, convincing skills, you basically want me to convince your professor, right? I got late for my. First, I want to know why did you get late for your presenting your final presentation? Who is the professor? Ma'am Anam Huma. Oh, she's okay. Why were you late for your final presentation? Okay, so you had some other things going on. Well, what you can do is you can basically, I would recommend you to go up to ma'am. Number one, when you are trying to convince someone, never ever have people around. You never ever want to have people around. That's the first part of convincing someone. The second part of convincing Ma'am Huma would be that you want to be honest with what you're saying, right? You want to argue it on honest grounds. Make sure you go to her cabin alone and you state a good valid reason. You can state reasons like, ma'am, I was involved in entrepreneurial stuff. I was involved in Hell Week, right? I had a lot of different assignments, right? Because I'm working on corporate polishing and human development to become a better entrepreneur and a business person. So sometimes my academics, the probability of my academics getting dotted sometimes gets high, right? So I just, this is all new to me, so I tried to balance it, but it didn't work out. That's why I kind of missed my final presentation. So I would be obliged to you, if you could kindly have my final presentation on these grounds. If you find it unacceptable, I will take the grade you will give me. State the consequences too. You want to be honest. I hope that answers your question. And what I want you guys to do is, for the members who weren't here, which is a lot of people, I want you guys to give a review on WhatsApp or Facebook. And this review shouldn't, I hate reviews like the session was good, whatever. The session was like just terms, like adjectives to I want you guys to discuss what was in the session and what you learned from the session, right? I don't want adjectives, right? You guys can state adjectives if you want to, but just, like, you just state an adjective and have like a summary and what you learned, how it affected you personally, and what you will do in the future, right? Because that's more relevant to me. Just, yeah, so don't be like, oh, the session was fun, yay. Alright, so thank you everyone who was present for the session today. Your attendance was marked, although we have a zero attendance policy for these things. I hope you guys have a really good Wednesday night.